1961, 1 year before the Beetles came to prominence. Just over a year after a pre-war designer Ford, seen here in the background, ceased production. The launch of the E-Type was a sensation, and John Coombs' Buy One was one of the first to go racing. Sir William Lyons, driving the first Roadster and the second E-Type to be built, clearly understood the value of publicity. It was considered essential that the first car to be road tested was made capable of 150 miles an hour, even though production cars could never quite get there. And it was important that the right people were seen in and around E-Types. These filmed rushes, roughly assembled but not properly edited into a finished sequence, show a particularly distinguished visitor to Brown's Lane, ostensibly collecting an early car from the front entrance. John Surtees was a world motorcycle racing champion turned Formula One driver, and was just the person to help promote the new car. Having been greeted at the factory, he is shown around the car by Jaguar director Lofty England, the tall one, chief test driver Norman Jewis, the short one, and engineering director Bill Haynes. The E-Type's external bonnet latches indicate that this was indeed a very early car, one of the first few hundred made. With left-hand drive and white wall tyres, the car was presumably destined for the United States, and there is no doubt that John Surtees would have been genuinely pleased to have got his hands on such an early example on one of the most explosively impressive cars to be introduced that year, or any other year for that matter. We don't now know what these unfinished, unassembled film rushes were intended for, but they provide a marvellous glimpse back into an otherwise hidden past. Jaguar were to produce a film of a fictional visit to Brown's Lane later in 1961, and as the so-called visitor, actually Ted Brooks, an engineer from the experimental department, was shown leaving the factory, he spotted one of the new cars and of course just had to be given a spin.
As I left the factory, I was invited to have a close look at an E-Type. And then to take a short spin. This sleek, bullet-shaped car, related closely to the famous record-breaking D-Type, is way out on its own. A new thoroughbred, descended from a long line of champions, it sets the pace for tomorrow. In setting this pace, Jaguars can look to the future with confidence, equipped with the knowledge that they have at their fingertips the resources and experience to remain permanently one leap ahead.
In 1964, the 3.8-litre engine was enlarged to 4.2 to suit the American market in particular.